After 3 with Sheena Speaks. She drops 3 and you make moves, you don't have nothing to prove.
Let it kick and if it hits, let it sit. If it clicks, let it hit, let it sit.
Microphone check 1, 2. What you gonna do after 3? It's your girl, Sheena Speaks. Your friend, your coach, your wing girl. Welcome to the After 3 podcast where we drop 3 and you make moves. This is season 1. Hello. I'm so excited for season 1 because those of you that were rocking with me, the 1, 2, 3 y'all that have been rocking with me, you will know that I just finished season 0 of the podcast, and season 0 is really about me punching perfectionism in the face because I have been trying to launch this podcast for 3 years and I kept stopping because I was looking for everything to be perfect. So season 0 is really me just doing the podcast anyway without all the bells and whistles and without it being perfect. Now don't get it twisted. Season 1 won't be perfect either. The only difference between season 0 and season 1 is now you can see me being imperfect. I'm still messy on the mic. But like I told you, you're going to see me get better and better and better at this because I'm waiting for the day when you say, I remember when you were live. No, wrong. I remember when you were just audio and now you are live in the studio. Okay? So not only do we have visual and audio, did y'all check out my intro song? I like it. And if y'all don't like it, I love it. So we're going to rock out with that intro song for the rest of the year. And if you got something better for me, send it to me. Send it to me. I'm open. Another change that we'll have for season 1 is I'll have some guests on here, do a couple of interviews with some cool people. But today, I am kicking off the People Code series, and this is the series where we are going to talk about different personality styles and what we can do to be more effective with people who are different from us. And a lot of times, what that looks like is maybe you move fast and they move slow. Maybe you process out loud, they process internally. Maybe you lead with feelings and they lead with facts. Maybe you jump in and they hang back. It's just a matter of difference. And a lot of times we look at these things and say people are difficult. And sometimes they are, but sometimes it's just a matter of difference and preference. And somewhere along the way, we prefer our style. We feel like our way is the way, and even though intellectually we know it's not, we exert that and we act that way when we get impatient with other people, upset because people didn't do something the way you felt like it needed to be done. But your way isn't the way, your way is a way. And we have to remember, we're all different for a reason. If we were all walking around here the same personality, that would be messed up. I wouldn't want to live in a world like that. So another part that I really want you to think about and really start to watch yourself and observe is sometimes the things that irritate you about other people is because it's exposing something that's underdeveloped in you. Sometimes when people irritate us, it's exposing something that's underdeveloped. And it doesn't make it wrong because we're built like that for a reason. Like you might have what I don't have and I might have what you don't have. And that's what causes us to need each other. We need each other. And that's how we build strong partnerships because not any one of us have it all. Even if you think you do, you don't. I'm telling you, you don't. So in this series, we're going to break down the 4 primary styles. We're going to look at the supportive style. We're going to look at the enthusiastic style, the analytical style, and the direct style. But this particular episode, we're just going to talk about the supportive style. Now, the supportive style is the style that is very compassionate. They have care and concern for people. They have very strong people intelligence. They value harmony And they also are very intuitive. And these are the people who are also great listeners. And one of the things I like about this supportive style is they really do tend to be concerned about you, and they really want to talk about you, the person, right? And when there's change happening within an organization, their focus is, but what does this mean for the people? How are we going to support the people? And this style is a great listener, and I will tell you, the people who are great listeners or people who have supportive style, they know everybody's dirty secrets, because people come to them because they listen to them and they understand them, and they're actually gifted at understanding. However, they can be misunderstood. Like all of these styles can be misunderstood. So I'm going to share with you 3 misconceptions of the supportive style, and then 3 ways that you can be more effective with this particular style. But before I go through that, I have a disclaimer. What we're talking about today is for you to have a lens of how to deal with certain styles or behaviors. This information is never meant to stereotype people or label people. That is a no-no in my world. That's a no-no in this world, because we are more than our personality style. We are more than, the behaviors that we exhibit. We have our background, our education, our experiences that make us who we are. And this is just a little layer of it. And we don't tell people who they are. We allow people to validate who they are. So we'll talk a little bit about the misconceptions and the characteristics, all that good stuff. But please remember, never use this information to stereotype people. And I could go on and on about that, but I won't. I just want to make sure we had our little disclaimer there. So here are 3 misconceptions about the supportive style. The first one is that they're weak. According to who? You? Because they care? Because they're not the one raising up the conflict? Because they have concern? Because they're compassionate? Because they put others first? That doesn't mean that they're weak. And they value harmony because they do look past themselves. It's not all about them. So that's something that we have to remember when we're dealing with the supportive style. However, if their behavior is creating some type of undesirable result, have the conversation, but name the behavior, name the impact, name what you want, ask them what can the 2 of you do to get to whatever outcome you're looking for, whatever result you're looking for, but don't you dare punish them for how they're wired. Deal with the behavior, not who they are as a person. They were built that way for a reason. And if there's a problem, have a conversation. The second misconception is that they are too nice. According to who? You? It's not up to you to create another grown person's boundaries. It is up to them to decide when enough is enough. It's up to them to decide when to push, when to yield, when to protect. However, if their behavior is causing some type of issue that needs to be handled, have the conversation. Talk about the behavior, the impact, what you want, and ask them, what can the 2 of you do to get to whatever that result or that desire is? Don't punish people for who they are. Deal with the behavior. The third misconception is they don't speak up. Now, that could be true, especially in conflict, but not just, put the supportive style aside. Every style has their own way of dealing with or responding to or reacting to conflict. There's no one way to do that. Like, that's just what people automatically have, and some things they have to learn how to deal with certain types of conflict. And you have to remember, talking about differences, you might be a person that says, listen, if there's a problem, I handle it head on. But some people are like, whoa, wait a minute, I need to process. I need to really understand, what am I really upset about? I need to have a meeting with myself to figure out what I want and what I want to say to you. Some people need to process because they already know if they talk about it or deal with it right now, it ain't going to come out in the most productive way. So we have to make space for each other. And we have to give grace to each other, especially when there's conflict. But I will tell you one thing about the supportive style. A lot of people think they're punks. They are no punks. The ones I know, trust me, they're not punks. They just don't really like conflict. And I don't know a lot of people who like conflict. They're people who are uncomfortable with it and they are okay with dealing with it. But you have some people, they just avoid it because it's just too uncomfortable. Make a safe space for them to speak up. All right. So let's get into 3 ways that you can honor the supportive style. And I say honor because we have to learn how to appreciate differences, even if it gets on our nerves. We have to be able to make things work with people who are different from us. So let's honor those styles and let's look at how we can be better, how we can develop those underdeveloped spaces in ourselves to be more fluent with different styles. So with the supportive style, the first way you can honor their style is to think relationship before task, or maybe human before task. You can't just roll up on them with what you want without saying good morning or how you doing. And I like to share with people that, you don't have to go over the top. You don't have to sit there and talk about their whole life and their kids and all that stuff. If that's not your style, I'm not telling you to do that. What I am saying is, greet them. That's common courtesy. Don't just roll up, say good morning, good afternoon. It won't hurt to give a little compliment. Hey, I like that jacket, and then go into your agenda. A lot of times people, especially my people who have strong personalities, they feel like adjusting is changing who they are, but it is not. I like to give the analogy of a radio, like a back in the day radio, like a boom box I prefer. And there was a dial for the volume and there was a dial for changing the station. So if you turn the dial to change the station, you will go to a completely different station that's playing a whole other song, right? If you use the dial, you are dealing with the volume and you're turning it up and you're turning it down. I'm asking you to be the volume, like be the dial. And I want you to think about, when I'm dealing with a person who's just like me, I could be Sheena on 10 because we are similar in our ways, right? But if I'm dealing with someone who's different from me, who don't like all that, maybe I could be Sheena on 5 or Sheena on 3. I'm still Sheena, but I'm giving you a different level. You know why? Because I tell y'all all the time, when I speak, I want to be heard. When I'm delivering a message, I want the person to get what I'm saying. If I need to influence that person, I need to kind of speak in their language so they could receive my message. Or if I'm really trying to establish some type of outcome where it takes the 2 of us, I might need to adjust my dial to be at a level that they can receive. That's not changing who I am. I am still me. So I just wanted to tell you about that. So if you are a person that says, listen, I don't like asking people how they doing because I don't care, you can still be true to yourself. It has the common courtesy. So don't ask them how you doing. If you don't care, don't ask them. Do something different. Like I said, say good morning, nice jacket. I wanted to ask you about, or hey, good morning. I wanted to ask you about. That's all that's required. I'm not asking you to be all, be how they are. I'm just saying adjust, yourself so that you can be effective with them. And, I know a lot of people who don't like small talk, but if you want to influence or connect with a supportive style, relationship matters, and it would help you to be tend to the relationship a little bit, because relationship means connection for them, and you got to appeal to that human side. So the second way to honor this style is, when there's conflict, soften your approach. And I'm not saying, be weak. Like, people think soft is weak, and it's really not. If there's tension, slow it down. If If you're too harsh, you're going to shut them down. If you're too fast, they're going to go, whoa. If you apply too much pressure, they're going to go, whoa. And you're not going to get accomplished what you're trying to get accomplished by talking to this person. And you also have to remember when you're dealing with the supportive style, especially when there's conflict, that they may not want to address the conflict head on, and or they might engage in the conflict in a way as not to hurt your feelings. So they might do that whole sandwich thing, like, please y'all stop doing the sandwich thing. They might do the sandwich thing, or they might beat around the mulberry bush because they don't want to hurt your feelings. If you are a person that you are going to have a conversation with someone who is of this supportive style, you might have to ask them to be direct with you. You might have to say to them, hey, listen, give it to me straight, no chaser, right? You don't have to be nice about it. You will not hurt my feelings. I actually prefer that you give it to me straight, because the people that I know that like you to give them to the straight, you are annoying them when you go around that mulberry bush. They don't got time for all of that. It's like, what is it? What do you want? What did I do? What are we doing? Right? So I'll talk about that when we talk about one of the other styles. So you really have to also understand that if you're a person that says, listen, when there's conflict, I deal with it and I move on. The supportive style, they may not. They hold on to conflict or the feelings on the aftermath a little bit longer. They feel bad about it for way longer than you might. And it's just good to understand that. And because the relationship is important to them, they want to make sure that the relationship is intact. So when you are engaging in a conflict conversation with them, make sure they understand that the relationship, if the relationship is good, make sure they understand that. Because sometimes you go through conflict, the relationship ain't good. Ask me how I know. But just to be mindful, if you want to make sure that you're being more effective with that supportive style when there's conflict. The third way to honor the supportive style is give them a real way to say no. My supportive style, sometimes they do have trouble saying no because they want to make people happy. They're people pleasing, or they put people first. They put people ahead of themselves. So it's easy for them to say yes, because a lot of times they want to say yes, but just because they want to doesn't mean they should. So give them a real way out. Give them a way to say no. And you can say things like, listen, I'm going to ask you something. If the answer is no, let me know, and it's all good. Don't mention and watch their body language, because you could say all of that and they'll still like overpromise or say yes when they really should be saying no. And when they are in that mode of people pleasing, don't exploit that. Don't take advantage of that. And make sure when you ask them that you let them know it's okay to say no, because they'll take on too much and then they'll resent saying yes. And you can't own other people's choices, but you can influence what you put on them, if that makes sense. So there's so much more I could talk about when it comes to the supportive style. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's really all about being effective with styles that are different from yours, and learning to learn or appreciate how people move. Because if we don't, we just shrink our own influence. We just hinder what we're trying to get accomplished. We're just risking the fact of not being heard the way we want to. And that's the bottom line. So if it hit, let it sit. If this episode helped you understand this style a little bit more, and you want some more information about the different types of styles and what triggers them and what the characteristics are and what you can do to be more effective with them, I have a free one-pager that I created for you. If you're looking at me, I'm looking at you. And you can go to trifecta3.com, 3 the number, not the letter, the word, and go to digital products. And click on the Gumroad button, and there you'll see the free one-pager. And there's other stuff out there as well. But it's called the People Decoder. And Also, if you feel that this is something that is showing up in your workplace, or if you want to do better with styles that are different from you, I do one-on-one coaching, I do workshops, I could come to your organization and work with your teams, whatever you want, I got it. So next week, we are breaking down another style. I think next week I'm going to do the enthusiastic style, because that one gets in trouble sometimes. All of them do. All of them do. All of them do. Oh, and you know what I forgot to tell you is we have these 4 major styles, and we tend to have a primary and a secondary, but we have access to all 4 of them. It just depends on what your primary and your secondary is. But if you want more information about all that, let me know. So, all right, it's your girl, Sheena Speaks. And this is the self-leadership conversation that needed to happen. I want you to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And this is brought to you by Trifecta Strategy. So until next time, I'll see you
Let it kick
later.
and if it hits, let it sit. If it clicks, let it hit, let it sit.